Movie Rocky came out in 1976. It is a 2-hour movie about this Donald's Luck boxer played by Sylvester Stallone, and eventually eventually his luck gets better. He eventually rises through the ranks in boxing. He gets with a girl he likes, and happily ever after. If you have not seen this movie yet, go watch it now. The door is right there. Go watch it. It's only 2 hours. Come back here, and then we'll talk. Because this movie is meant to be experienced without any spoilers going in. It is amazing. I had expectations for it. I thought it was just going to be pretty good. You know, a classic, fairly good. No. This movie is not just good. It's not just a little bit over good. This movie has good right here. And then it has Rocky. Just absolutely up here. And Rocky is the nickname for the main character in this movie. But everybody just calls him Rocky. And he's a Donald's Luck boxer. We start off the movie with him in a ring. He's getting absolutely beat. He's destroyed. His body's getting destroyed. So eventually get him out of the fight. So we figure out two things in this scene. So A, figure out that he's a boxer. And that he's not doing very well. They even call him a bum. He's not doing very well. He's Donald's Luck, you know. And two, that something needs to change. From here, we later meet a girl that's going to end up being the love interest for this movie. The lover for this movie. Later, we see this other guy because he works with this loan shark, beats up people who don't give the money. Stuff like that, you know. Just a bunch of fun stuff. Eventually, there's this other boxer, right? He's this big boy. He's like, oh, you know, all these other fighters are gone. Who am I going to fight now? I'm going to tell you who he's going to fight. He's going to fight Rocky. So then Rocky's like, okay, sure. So there's a bunch of training. His girl's getting him amped up. You know, he's ready. He's running in the morning. He's raising his arms in triumph in front of the sunset, which is an amazing scene. I'm going to talk about that later, actually. Eventually gets the fight. He wins for the first time. He's the first person, something similar to this. And happily ever after. There's been sequels. I'm pretty sure they made there's like a spin-off series called Creed about Apollo Creed. Yeah, that's just a basic consensus about the movie. But now let's actually get into the movie and specific scenes I want to talk about, because there are so many good scenes to talk about. So many, in fact, if I wanted to get through all of them, this would be like a 20-minute video, which I might do. But I don't know if people will watch this video for that long. This movie is so good. Oh my god. There's this really, really good scene where something that Sylvester Stallone did in the 70s and 80s, like while he was in his prime, at least I think he was. His characters were like these brutes, like really strong and everything, but they would show emotion, and when they did, it all poured out. It all poured out, you know. Because he plays these characters who aren't very good at showing emotion. They can show emotion, they're emotional people, but they're not good at showing it in front of people, so they just open up at certain moments. That's what happened in this movie, and it is great when Sylvester does it in any movie. In this movie, there's this guy that wants to be his manager, and the guy that wants to be his manager, he wrestled when he was like in his 20s or whatever, and now he's in his 50s, and he's like, I can train you. And he's like, no, I don't need your training. I can do it myself. So then, the guy that wants to be his manager is really sad, you know, he's teary-eyed, Rocky locks himself in the bathroom, and then Rocky starts screaming. This is the scene where he starts welling out all of his emotion, just starts going through him and onto the screen. It is amazing. Everything you want to feel in the scene is felt. Everything the screen wants you to feel is exasperated. It's all so great. And you're like, how do you think I, a bunch of stuff. And you can really feel the volumes that it comes across on the screen, because the older guy is walking down the steps, still hears it super loud. Gets out the door, still hears it really loud. Goes down the street, can still hear him screaming. And then Rocky has a change of heart. It's like, hey, you can be my manager. And he shakes hands. It's kind of implied. Doesn't really say anything, but it's implied. And eventually, he gets trained up for the big fight versus Apollo Creed, this other wrestler he's completely undefeated. Nobody has ever defeated him, and you know, he's ready to fight. But this guy, he doesn't train at all, because he thinks he can win. But then you have Rocky training every day to night dusk till dawn because he needs to win this fight for his career, for everybody he loves, for everybody he knows. Is really important for him. And there's this really amazing scene where he's running. He runs from his apartment building to a big, like, Capitol building or whatever. And he keeps on running that stretch. So eventually, he runs that distance. And the final time he does it, towards the end of the movie, there's the sunset in the background. And then he just raises his arms in triumph. It's an amazing scene. It's such a notable scene, too. I think it's like that time when you're, like, experiencing a movie and you're like, hey, I've seen that before. That was that scene for me. So, like, when he's, like, raising his arms up in triumph in front of the sunset, he's ready to go out into the sunset, about to make his final triumph as Rocky. He's about to win this fight. He's pumped up, he's ready, and he knows it's going to be good. Eventually, he visits the ring before the fight, and when he's here, he goes in this room. It's empty, so tons and tons of seats. You get all these different wide shots. So you have this small man, Rocky, in like this middle center of the room in the ring. But then he has all these wide shots. This is huge, emptied out room, and this is gonna be filled the next day with laughter, chatter, a bunch of stuff. He's really starting to feel the gravity of the situation. Like, whoa. This is going to be big. This is going to be crazy. It's bigger than anything he's ever done before. He has to get ready for this fight. And there's still so much more I could talk about, but there's some training montages and everything. It's really, really good. There's nothing even bad about this movie. It's really just amazing and good. So yeah, let's just talk about the amazing first. The cinematography is really good. The characters are amazing. The atmosphere is amazing. Stuff that's good is some of the characters are like there's this character who can be abusive in one scene and crying in the next, but then that whole plot line's kind of forgotten in the next scene, and it's kind of like up and down with that character. There's a couple plot threads that are a little unresolved, like what happened to his locker, but that's kind of like a nitpick, you know. This movie is really good in all cylinders, in all ways. This movie is art. They say there's a good movie. There's a good movie. This movie is amazing. It's perfect. I would definitely give Rocky a solid 9.5 out of 10. I don't really give any movie a 10 out of 10. I don't even give my most favorite movie of all time a 10 out of 10. Yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on the movie Rocky from 1976. Yeah, 1976. If you all enjoyed this video or any of my other content, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Also, I was recommended to watch this movie and talk about it by the It's a Long Road podcast. You guys go check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and it's on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.